The wind howled through the icy streets of Norvac Station. Snowflakes struck Daniel's face as he pulled his coat tighter and stepped onto the transport platform. The day had been long, and all he wanted was to get home before the next storm. Close the routes. He scanned his wristband over the scanner, but as he turned to wait, he saw an old alien standing near the ticket gate, looking lost. The alien's skin was pale blue, with deep wrinkles across his face, and he wore a long coat patched with different fabrics. His trembling hands held a faded travel token, but the gate's light flashed red. Daniel hesitated for a moment before stepping closer. The old alien looked up with tired eyes that glowed faintly. "It expired," he said in a soft, crackling voice. "They will not let me pass." Around them, other travelers avoided eye contact, hurrying onto the waiting shuttle. Daniel glanced at the snow building up around the alien's boots and felt a pang of guilt. Without thinking too much, he pulled out his wristband and tapped it against the payment terminal. A green light blinked, and the gate slid open. The alien stared at him for a moment before stepping through. "Why?" the alien asked quietly. Daniel shrugged and smiled faintly. "No one should be left behind in the cold." The alien gave a nod that seemed far deeper than simple gratitude. They boarded the shuttle together, sitting near the back. Daniel noticed the alien kept glancing out the window, his expression distant. "Are you going somewhere important?" Daniel asked. The alien was silent for a while before answering. He said at last. "It has been a long time." His voice was strange, carrying a weight Daniel could not place. As the shuttle lifted off, the snowy streets fell away, replaced by the white expanse of frozen plains. Daniel wondered why such a frail traveler was alone in this weather. But the alien's gaze stayed locked on the horizon, as if expecting something. Daniel felt a strange unease, though he could not say why. The ride was quiet except for the hum of the engines. Every so often, the alien's eyes would flicker brighter, and his hands would grip his coat tighter. Daniel tried to shake the feeling that he had just stepped into someone else's story without knowing the rules. The other passengers paid them no mind, focused on their own devices or staring into space. The shuttle approached the next stop, where the icy plains gave way to an open landing field. As they descended, Daniel noticed faint lights in the distant sky, 3 points growing brighter against the swirling snow. At first he thought they were standard cargo haulers, but their approach pattern was too fast, too precise. The old alien leaned forward slightly, his eyes narrowing. "They are here," he murmured under his breath. Daniel frowned. "Who's here?" The alien did not answer. The shuttle's intercom crackled to life, the pilot's voice unsteady. "Attention passengers, we are being asked to hold position. Unscheduled arrivals are entering the zone." The lights in the sky flared brighter, revealing sleek, dark shapes slicing through the snowstorm. Each was massive, easily the size of a military frigate, but unlike any design Daniel recognized. Engines roared as they slowed, hovering above the field with flawless coordination. A low vibration shook the shuttle's frame as the three elite ships began to descend in unison. The 3 ships lowered with perfect precision, their black hulls gleaming under the icy daylight. Steam hissed from vents along their sides as they settled into position above the landing field. The shuttle's passengers stared in silence, eyes wide. Daniel felt the tension in the air grow heavier. The old alien beside him straightened in his seat, his glowing eyes fixed on the largest ship. His posture had changed completely. There was no sign of the frail, shivering traveler from before. Now he looked like someone who had been waiting for this exact moment. The shuttle's doors stayed shut as the pilot waited for instructions from ground control. Outside, the snow swirled in violent gusts, pushed around by the landing thrusters. The ships were unlike anything Daniel had seen in any military or civilian fleet. Their designs were sharp, angular, almost predatory. Strange markings ran along their sides, glowing faintly in a deep blue color. The old alien's gaze softened, slightly as if he recognized the symbols. Daniel leaned closer and whispered, "You know them, don't you?" The alien's answer was quiet but firm. "They are my people. They have come for me." Daniel blinked, trying to process the words. A series of sharp beeps sounded inside the shuttle as the pilot received new orders. Everyone remained seated. The voice instructed, "We are being boarded." Several passengers exchanged nervous glances. Boarded was never a word people wanted to hear in space travel. It meant inspections, questioning, delays, or worse. Daniel felt his pulse quicken. The old alien placed a hand on Daniel's arm. "Do not be afraid. They will not harm you." His tone was calm, almost reassuring, but Daniel could still see a flicker of tension in the alien's eyes. A loud clang echoed through the shuttle as the outer hatch connected to a boarding ramp. The sound of pressurized air rushing in filled the cabin. The doors slid open, revealing 3 tall figures in sleek armor that shimmered with an icy blue sheen. Their faces were hidden behind angular helmets with glowing eye slits. They stepped inside with fluid movements, scanning the passengers without a word. Daniel felt their presence like a physical weight pressing down on him. The lead figures. Gaze locked onto the old alien almost instantly. The armored alien stepped forward and stopped directly in front of the old one. Slowly, the elder rose to his feet, his movements deliberate. Daniel noticed the subtle bow of the soldiers' heads. This was not a meeting between strangers. This was a reunion. The leader removed his helmet, revealing sharp, refined features and the same glowing eyes, though brighter and younger. He spoke in a language Daniel could not understand, but the old alien's expression softened further. They exchanged a few short phrases before the elder turned to Daniel. "They know what you did for me," he said, "and they will not forget." The words carried a weight Daniel did not yet grasp. Without asking permission, the soldiers gestured for Daniel to stand. One of them produced a small metallic device that projected a thin blue light around him. Daniel flinched at the sudden warmth it gave off. "They are scanning you," the elder explained, "for safety." The scan ended quickly, and the soldiers seemed satisfied. The leader spoke again, and this time the elder translated. "They wish for you to come with us." Daniel frowned. "Why? I just bought you a ticket." The elder's gaze was unwavering. Sometimes the smallest act changes the largest path. There was no time to argue. The soldiers were already guiding them toward the open ramp. As Daniel stepped outside, the freezing wind hit him like a wall. The 3 massive ships loomed above, their hulls covered in frost and ice crystals. Blue lights pulsed along their sides like the slow heartbeat of some colossal creature. The nearest ship extended a platform, and the soldiers led them aboard. Inside, the air was warmer, filled with a faint scent of metal and something sweet he could not name. The walls curved smoothly, glowing with the same blue symbols from the hull. Everything felt both alien and purposeful. The elder walked ahead, with steady steps, his posture proud, as if he had finally returned to where he belonged. Daniel followed in silence, his mind spinning with questions. Who exactly was this old alien? Why did these elite ships come for him so quickly? And what did any of it have to do with a simple act of kindness at a ticket gate? As they moved deeper into the ship, the hum of the engines grew stronger, and Daniel realized they were already lifting off the ground. Through a narrow window, he watched the snowy field disappear beneath them, replaced by the endless white clouds of the upper atmosphere. He felt the weight of something much larger than himself unfolding around him. The hum of the engines deepened as the ship climbed higher. Daniel steadied himself against the smooth wall, feeling the vibration beneath his boots. The old alien walked ahead without hesitation, his steps confident. They entered a wide chamber, filled with strange glowing panels. Symbols shifted across the surfaces like flowing water. Several more armored aliens stood at attention around the room, their eyes tracking Daniel with quiet curiosity. The elder stopped in the center, raising his chin. One of the officers stepped forward, offering a formal bow before speaking in the same unknown language as before. Daniel's gaze moved between the speaker and the elder, trying to piece together their conversation. The alien's words were sharp and deliberate, but the elder responded with calm, measured tones. At last the elder turned to Daniel. "They want to know why you helped me," he said. Daniel shrugged slightly. It was the right thing to do. The elder's expression was unreadable for a moment before a faint smile touched his lips. "In my world, such a choice holds great meaning." The surrounding officers exchanged subtle glances as though confirming something important. Among themselves, a soft chime echoed through the chamber. One of the armored figures approached the elder and spoke quickly. Daniel could not understand the words, but he felt the urgency in their tone. The elder's face tightened. "We are being followed," he said. "Another fleet has entered our path." Daniel's chest tightened. "Enemies?" The elder nodded once. "Most likely. My return was not something all would welcome." The lights in the room shifted to a deeper blue as a low alarm sounded through the ship. The crew moved with disciplined precision, taking positions at various stations. Daniel stood awkwardly until one of the officers gestured for him to follow. They led him to a side console and activated a display showing the approaching ships. Small bright icons moved rapidly toward their position. The elder studied the display, then spoke sharply to the crew. The ship responded with a deep thrum, and Daniel felt a sudden acceleration push him back slightly. Outside the nearest window, the stars began to blur as the vessel increased speed. The elder stepped closer to Daniel. "We must reach the safe corridor before they intercept us." His voice was steady, but Daniel sensed the gravity of the situation. The deck vibrated harder as the ship made a sharp turn. Daniel gripped the edge of a console to stay balanced. The officers communicated in short bursts of language, their movements seamless. The elder moved among them, issuing commands that seemed to be followed without hesitation. The tension was palpable, but no one looked panicked. Daniel realized these people had trained for moments like this all their lives. Yet he also knew that if the pursuing fleet caught them, his own fate would be tied to theirs, whether he understood their cause or not. Without warning, a bright flash lit up the view outside. One of the pursuing ships had fired, and the beam passed close enough for Daniel to see its glow reflect off the hull. The crew reacted instantly, adjusting course and returning fire with thin streams of blue light that curved like arcs of energy. The elder remained at the center, watching every move with sharp focus. Daniel could feel the weight of the moment pressing on him, but also something else, a strange sense of belonging among these people who treated the elder with such respect. The ship surged forward again, engines roaring as the distance between them and the enemy grew. Gradually, the alarm tone softened, and the deep blue lighting shifted back to its normal hue. The elder exhaled slowly, his shoulders relaxing. "We have reached the edge of their range," he said. "They will not risk following us farther." Daniel leaned against the wall, trying to let the tension leave his own body. "So what now?" he asked. The elder regarded him for a long moment before answering. "Now we reach my home, and you will see why your kindness matters more than you imagine." The crew resumed their duties with quiet efficiency, the tension easing. Daniel followed the elder out of the chamber into a long corridor lined with strange, glowing designs that pulsed gently as they walked past. The air was warmer here, carrying a faint scent of unfamiliar flowers. It felt almost peaceful, a stark contrast to the chaos of moments before. The elder's steps slowed slightly, as though the weight of many years was settling on him again. Yet there was purpose in his movement, a sense of destiny that Daniel could feel even without understanding its full meaning. The corridor opened into a massive viewing deck, and Daniel stopped in his tracks. Beyond the wide, curved windows stretched the endless void of space, but directly ahead was a sight unlike anything he had imagined. A planet filled the view, glowing softly against the dark backdrop. Its surface shimmered with a mix of deep blues, silver plains, and swirling bands of white. Massive rings encircled the world, catching the light of a nearby sun. The elder stepped forward, his glowing eyes reflecting the image. "Home," he said quietly. There was a weight in the word that Daniel could feel deep in his chest. The ship began its approach, and the details of the planet grew sharper. Cities could be seen as clusters of lights beneath transparent domes, spread across the surface like scattered constellations. The ocean sparkled with strange luminous patterns that shifted like living currents. Daniel pressed closer to the window, unable to look away. The elder stood beside him, a faint smile on his face. "It has been many years since I saw it with my own eyes," he said. "To return like this is something I never thought I would live to do." Daniel sensed a hidden story in his tone, one filled with loss and longing. As the ship descended toward the upper atmosphere, a subtle tremor ran through the deck. The view darkened briefly as they passed through a thick cloud layer, then brightened as they emerged into clear skies. The rings now arched overhead like a silver crown. Far below, the largest of the domed cities came into focus, its structures gleaming with polished metal and glowing crystal. The elder straightened his coat, his posture one of quiet pride. "This is where we will land," he said, "and where you will understand the value of your choice." His gaze did not leave the city ahead. The landing bay was vast, enclosed by towering walls that glowed faintly with energy. As the ship touched down, teams of aliens in elegant uniforms moved in synchronized patterns across the floor. The airlock hissed open, and a warm, sweet-smelling breeze flowed into the cabin. Daniel followed the elder down the ramp, feeling dozens of eyes on him. The people here shared the elder's glowing eyes and blue skin, though their appearances varied in height, build, and markings. Some paused their work to bow slightly as the elder passed, their expressions filled with respect. Daniel could tell that whoever this old alien was, his presence commanded deep honor. They were met at the base of the ramp by a group of officials in finely detailed robes. The leader stepped forward, speaking in the native language with a tone that carried authority. The elder responded with measured words, his voice steady and calm. After a brief exchange, the leader turned his attention to Daniel, studying him carefully. Though Daniel could not understand the words, he felt the meaning in the elder's translation. "They know you helped me when you did not have to," the elder said. "And they believe fate has brought you here for a reason." Daniel's heart raced at the thought of being part of something so much larger than himself. They were escorted through the city's grand entrance, where wide streets curved between towering structures of glass and metal. Bridges arched overhead, connecting buildings that seemed to float above the streets. Everywhere Daniel looked, streams of light flowed along pathways in the air, guiding traffic of sleek hovering vehicles. The people moved with purpose, their movements smooth and graceful. Children played near glowing fountains, their laughter echoing softly. The elder moved with steady determination, leading Daniel toward the tallest structure at the city's center. "That is the council hall," he said. "It is where decisions that shape our future are made." Inside, the hall was a masterpiece of architecture. High ceilings arched overhead, supported by pillars carved with intricate symbols. Light cascaded down from above, creating a shimmering effect across the polished floor. At the far end, a circular platform held seats arranged in tiers, all facing a central dais. The elder walked toward it, and Daniel followed closely, feeling the weight of the stairs from every corner. The hall fell silent as the elder stepped onto the dais. He turned to face Daniel, his voice steady and filled with purpose. "What happens next will define more than just my return," he said. "It will define the path ahead for us all." Daniel stood still, his mind racing. He could sense that the moment he had stumbled into was not simply about politics or ceremony. There was something personal in the elder's eyes, something that spoke of trust and choice. The officials on the tiers leaned forward, their glowing eyes watching intently. The air in the hall was heavy, as though the entire city was holding its breath. Daniel knew he had no way to prepare for what was coming next, but he also knew he could not turn away from it. The elder raised his hand slightly, and the hall grew completely silent. His voice, calm but powerful, carried through the chamber. He spoke in his own language at first, his words flowing with a rhythm Daniel could not understand, but could feel. The council members listened intently, their faces shifting between solemn respect and quiet approval. Then the elder turned to Daniel, addressing him in the common tongue. "I have told them what you did for me," he said. "That a human, without obligation or expectation, gave aid to one who appeared to have nothing left. To them such an act is rare and sacred." One of the counselors rose from their seat. They wore a long silver robe that shimmered under the light. Their glowing eyes studied Daniel for several moments before they spoke. The elder translated. "They say that, in our history, kindness has been as powerful as any weapon. It can unite where war would destroy. They ask if you will stand with us now, as an ally, not as a stranger." The weight of the words pressed on Daniel's chest. He thought about the icy platform, the old alien shivering alone, and the simple choice he had made. "I will stand," he said firmly. A ripple of acknowledgement passed through the council. The leader of the council stepped forward and placed a hand over their chest in a gesture of honor. A second gesture followed, directed toward Daniel, and the elder mirrored it. "You are now recognized as a friend of the High Council," the elder explained. "Few outsiders have ever received this." Daniel felt a mixture of pride and disbelief. He had not come here for titles or recognition, yet the moment felt heavy with meaning. The counselors spoke among themselves, their tones lighter now, as though a burden had been lifted. The elders smiled faintly, the first true sign of relief Daniel had seen. They left the chamber together, escorted by the same officials who had greeted them at the landing bay. Outside, the city was alive with movement. News of the elders' return had spread quickly, and groups of citizens gathered along the main road to watch them pass. Some bowed deeply, others reached out their hands in quiet gratitude. Daniel could feel their eyes on him as well, a mixture of curiosity and respect. The elder walked with a steady pace, acknowledging those who greeted him, his presence both reassuring and commanding. As they reached the edge of a wide plaza, Daniel saw the 3 elite ships from before now stationed above the city, their dark shapes gleaming in the sunlight. Around them, smaller craft moved in organized patterns, like birds guarding a nesting ground. The elder stopped and looked up at them. "They came for me because they believed my return was necessary," he said. "Now they will remain, because they see there is more at stake than they first imagined." Daniel followed his gaze, understanding that those ships were not just a symbol of strength, but of protection for what this world stood for. The elder led Daniel toward a smaller building near the plaza, one that looked less like a hall of power and more like a place of quiet reflection. Inside, the air was warm and filled with the faint scent of incense. Soft light poured through high windows, illuminating walls covered in carved symbols. "This is where our oaths are kept," the elder said. "Every promise that shapes our history begins here." He stepped toward a stone pedestal in the center of the room and placed both hands on it. The carvings began to glow faintly, responding to his touch. He turned to Daniel. "Now you will make yours." Daniel hesitated for only a moment before stepping forward. The stone was cool under his palms, but he felt a strange energy flowing through it, as if it recognized his presence. The elder spoke quietly, guiding him through the words of the oath. Though Daniel did not fully understand their language, he spoke each phrase with intent. When the final word left his mouth, the glow from the stone spread outward, filling the room with soft blue light. The elder's expression was one of deep satisfaction. "It is done," he said. "From this moment, our fates are bound by choice, not by chance." They stepped back outside, where the city's hum continued as before. But Daniel could sense a change in the way people looked at him. He was no longer just a traveler who had stumbled into their lives. He was part of something larger, something that might one day shape the fate of worlds. The elder placed a hand on his shoulder and spoke with quiet certainty. "What began with a single act of kindness will carry far beyond what either of us can see. And when the day comes that this alliance is tested, you will know why you were here." Daniel looked toward the sky, where the elite ships waited like silent guardians, and understood that his journey had only just begun.